Oh no! Boydke.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Today I'm here at the SSLI in Skukuza, and I've got the wonderful privilege of speaking to Dileri, who is a Mexican conservationist working in Kruger. So how are you doing?
Fine, thank you so much. It's amazing being here with you, and thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you. It's always interesting to speak to people in the field that do actual research work and some of the wonderful things you do in Kruger. I'm sure that we're going to learn some interesting things from you today. So how long have you been in South Africa?
Thank you. I've been in South Africa for a month and a half. I'm actually leaving next week, but it has been absolutely amazing.
So you've been traveling all around the world and you've been doing different ecological and scientific research. So what exactly have you been doing in South Africa for the last month and a half?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm actually currently undergoing the research for my master's thesis. So many years ago, there was invasive species that were introduced into the local ecosystem. So that means species that did not belong here. People brought them either for aquaculture or through the pet trade. Even though people might not think this is a reality, people do like to release their pets and think that is a great idea sometimes to do that. And so a lot of species now have been introduced into ecosystem that they did not belong many years ago. And so unfortunately, then they reproduce and sometimes they outcompete the native species. So I came here to monitor some of these invasives.
What would be like the one thing we could do better to improve the ecology of our rivers and the ecosystems?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would begin by saying perhaps being familiar with what is around us. You know, it's very challenging to be able to differentiate amongst an invasive species versus a native species, and that's no one's fault, but sometimes we actually don't even know what's around us,
Yeah.
you know, and so when we're able to identify the species and we're able to actually know where they come from, that is like the first great step to be able to help the environment, because then we're able to differentiate if something is being good for the environment or actually is not necessarily helping the greater ecosystem.
Now, you've been all around the world. You've seen different animals of different species. What makes South African animals different for you? What's your favorite animal in Kruger?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think what makes it different is that there's a lot of megafauna.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the dynamics in Kruger National Park and overall in South Africa are much driven by the megafauna, such as elephants, you know, which are
Yes.
our
I
very
encountered
amazing,
some this morning.
yeah, ecosystem engineers, yeah, which are amazing,
Yes.
and they completely shift ecosystems, which can also be, hard sometimes. So I don't know. I think my favorite species here, I'll say something boring.
No, go for it.
I really
Please
like
do.
turtles.
Oh,
Yeah, I really like
so
turtles.
you like the terrapins that we see
Yes.
here? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
But the very interesting part is that some of the invasives that were introduced, such as the red claw crayfish, which is a species that actually belongs to Australia, has now established in some of the rivers across the Kruger National Park. And unfortunately, they're not good for the environment. They predate other species. They change the water quality characteristics. And that is one of the most impactful and unfortunately very sad to have a species in the Kruger National Park River.
So now you are leaving South Africa again and you're going back to Mexico. So you told me about a project that you will be returning for in September. Do you want to maybe just share what that's going to be all about?
Yeah, for sure. So in September, we are coming back and we'll be doing ecological monitoring in 3 of the rivers across the Kruger National Park. So we'll be doing surveys in the Sabi, in the Sand, and the Crocodile rivers. And we do this procedure that is called electroshocking,
Ooh, that
in
sounds
which,
interesting.
yeah, it's a way where we can actually count the fish and identify the species. And we do this to look at the species diversity. So what species are there and how do they change across the Kruger National Park? Okay. And my project specifically looks at how do a species diversity change across the park boundaries. So once you leave the park, the rivers don't have boundaries. They're not, they're not limited by fences. And so oftentimes we miss to know how are they doing when they're outside of the park. So we'll also be doing surveys outside of the park in the Sand, and the Sabi, and the Crocodile rivers. And that is very exciting because this time that I was in South Africa, we actually interviewed the local communities.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we interviewed 6 different communities that border some of these rivers, and we try to understand what is their relationship to the
Okay.
river. The surveys here, it was pretty interesting. We wanted to understand whether or not, they use invasive species as a source of food, or if they contribute somehow to their local livelihoods. Sometimes a lot of communities do actually fish,
Yes.
like fish, and they
Yes.
actually like fishing as part of their cultural identities and like
course.
recreational activities. So I think as ecologists, it's very easy to think, we need to eradicate or we have to control invasive species, but sometimes they also play a role on the local livelihoods in the communities and their relationships of communities with some of these species. So we wanted to understand the social dimensions of invasive species across the Kruger National Park rivers.
That's sounds like a difficult subject as well.
Yeah, very very challenging. Yeah, it's very challenging, very I would say very impactful as well, because as ecologists you cannot just give a management action and say, okay, let's get rid of this species
okay.
when they might be playing a role.
Yeah, and you guys work very hard. I mean, you spend the whole day in the field, you're out in the sun, and then you have to collect the data, you have to come home and analyze it. So, I mean, I respect that quite a bit. A guy like me, just a camera jockey and a tourist. But it's so cool to speak to you guys. Is there any way, is there any causes that you support? Are there any ways I could ask people to donate or to fund some of your projects?
I think this is a great question. More than funding me, I would just say fund a lot of the organizations that are doing a great job out there. I think especially organizations such as the IUCN release a lot of reports about, the impact of invasive species globally. There's a lot of local organizations such as the SSLI, who work every day very hard to be able to bring researchers like me here and be able to give us a facility where we can stay and be and do our research.
Amazing facility. I love it.
Yeah, and then I would also say also, I guess, supporting local communities with a lot of capacity building and perhaps even giving them some training about the importance of invasive species. Like a lot of these communities, they're extremely knowledgeable about the fish and the resources and the river and the seasonality of the rivers, but they have no empowerment to be able to actually, lead an initiative for conservation. So maybe, if we were able to support them and be able to say, okay, I'll support what you do in the river, and I'll help you monitor the river, and I'll help you, control invasive species. I think that would be super empowering.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking to me. And I found this very, very interesting, and I'll keep in touch with you. And I would love to get involved in some of the causes going forward, and maybe I can come in September and view some of the work you do and spread the word out there about what it is that you guys do. So just before we finish, I'm going to ask you to pronounce a couple of Afrikaans words.
Okay. Oh, no. Okay.
So as a final segment, I'm just going to ask you to pronounce some Afrikaans words and see as a Mexican how well you do with it. And if you can guess what it is, maybe.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's harder. Okay.
Let's go for this one first.
Oh, no. Braaibootjie.
Close enough. So this is a braaibroodjie. So this is
no. Okay. That wasn't that close.
the one we toast on the fire with the braai. So,
okay. Okay.
Every South African Kruger lover knows a braaibroodjie very, very well. Okay, this one.
Skilpad.
Yeah, do you know what that is?
No.
It's your favorite animal. It's a turtle.
Oh, it's a turtle. No way. Okay.
So in English you get a tortoise and a turtle, which differs from the water and the land-based one. So in Afrikaans you get a skilpad and you get a waterskilpad. So a skilpad is the normal tortoise, and a waterskilpad, the terrapin, is the more water-based turtle one.
Okay.
So that's
Good to know.
Oh, this will be a good one. Okay, this one.
Kamelperd.
Ah, close enough. It's a cameelpad. So this is Afrikaans word for a giraffe.
Oh, I would think that was chameleon. I don't know why it sounds like it.
No, a chameleon in Afrikaans is called a verkleermannetjie. Yeah.
Verkleermannetjie.
Yes, so
Okay.
that's actually a very descriptive word in our language, and a lot of the Dutch people and Flemish people find it quite funny, because it literally means a little man that changes color.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's actually
Like
pretty cool.
verkleer is changing color, and mannetjie is small man.
Oh
So,
my
yeah.
God. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So lastly, I just wanted to let me just get this thing here. So I've got a printing sponsor called Printwild, and I just want to show the camera this little fridge magnet, and they were so kind enough to provide me with some fridge magnets. So this is one of the statue at Skukuza.
Wow. Thank you. This is amazing.
And I hope
wow.
that'll go on your
Oh
fridge
my, I
back
love
home.
this. Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much for all
Thank
the
you
work
so
you do.
much.
And we locals that just frequent the park, we really appreciate you researchers. And if there's ever anything we can do for you, please just don't hesitate. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
safe travels back to Mexico
Thank
and
you so
all of your
much.
endeavors.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it and really appreciate your time coming here and
it's
all
not
of
a
your
problem.
support.
I love speaking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.